Hello, everybody, and welcome to HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappy here, and coming up in just a bit, we'll have Steve Watson, Jared Keene, and Andy Barron for a nice sports discussion. We'll touch on a little bit of everything today. But first, the Hiller Winter teams are recently announced the TVL Award winners. Here's a look at that. The TVL League Awards were announced, and All-Stars for the Hillers included in Alpine Ski Lucy Mado, Lila Mado, Barry O'Brien, and Annalie Krantz, as well as J.B. Flynn. Congratulations on a great season to Hiller Alpine Ski. In boys basketball, Jack Iannelli, Sam Dedejian, Sam Pantera. Boys basketball won the TVL Large title and finished 17-4 after a loss in a close game versus Middleborough in the round of 32. For boys hockey, All-Stars included James Hayward, Connor Merkel, Steven Jackson. Boys hockey won the TVL Large title and finished 14-5 overall, falling just short in the round of 32. In boys swimming and dive, All-Stars included Caleb Burke and Davis Pishoff. Boys swimming and dive finished the regular season 4-3 overall. In boys track and field, All-Stars included Sean Finnegan, Ben Scott, Logan Sullivan, Harry Miller, Drew Bilobreski, Will Bilobreski. Boys track and field captured the TVL Large title and finished the regular season undefeated. In girls basketball, All-Stars included Elena Davies and Bethel Flanagan. Girls basketball finished 10-11 overall after falling short in the round of 32. In girls hockey, All-Stars included Avery Bent, Lucy Jean, and Riley Cholera. Girls hockey had a terrific season, but fell just short of the playoffs, finishing with 5 wins, 12 losses, and 4 ties. In girls swimming and dive, All-Stars included Olivia Scalora and also Eve Weatherhead. Eve was also named the Diver of the Year in the TVL. Congratulations on that terrific accomplishment to Eve Weatherhead. Girls swimming finished 3-5 overall. In wrestling, All-Stars included Anthony Butkus, Edwin Zhao, and Stephen Moody. Hiller Wrestling finished the regular season 3-3 overall. In girls track and field, All-Stars included Lauren Canty, Alice Brambati, Josie Hopkins, Steph Johnson, and Elise Srodawa. Girls track and field finished their tremendous season 4-1 overall. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this segment of HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappy here, and we got all the guys on today's show. We got Andy Barron, Steve Watson, Jared Keene. The whole crew is here. Fellas, how are you? Okay, everybody's
Doing good, guys. Doing good.
Doing good.
Excited for a night of hoops.
Absolutely. So we're recording this on Thursday, March 28th, for those of you watching on HCAM. But we're going to touch on a little bit of everything. Of course, we got the college basketball tournament going. UConn's looking good. That's really the only local team that made the tournament. But it's been a good tournament so far, and we'll touch on that in just a bit. But we'll start off with the NFL free agency. After the first week of craziness, first couple of weeks of craziness, it's kind of died down a little bit, but there's still some guys available. Some of the latest signings: Steelers sign running back Cordero Patterson, so that could be a nice speed addition for the Steelers. It looks like the Chiefs are going to trade cornerback Algerius Sneed to the Titans. So they'll be losing a corner probably to free up some cap space over in Kansas City. The Packers signed kicker Greg Joseph to challenge Anders Carlson, so they'll have a nice kicking battle in preseason. And the Patriots, their latest signing, I'm having a mind blank. I know it was a wide receiver from the Vikings who they just got. Andy, you know who I'm talking about?
AJ Osborne.
That's it, KJ Osborne. So they brought in KJ Osborne. I like the addition. I think it's some good speed. I think Osborne has a good amount of potential. But Steve, you weren't on the show. We got to talk about free agency too much. So let's get your take. What are your thoughts on the Patriots, the NFL? Who do you think's having the best free agency? What are your thoughts so far, Steve?
I think the Pats are actually worse off than they were in January. I don't see this team as being better right now. So, perhaps the draft may change that a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't get my hopes up, Pats fans, this season. And yes, it could be worse than last year. It really could be. You only had 4 wins last year. This team could easily finish worse than that. There's just you re-sign Bourne, you re-sign Henry, and that's great and all. And you add Osborne into the mix. You get rid of Devontae Parker, who I feel like was never
How are they
open in his
worse?
time
How
here.
are they worse than last year?
It's
How are they worse?
well, who scares you on this roster? If you're an opponent, who are you game planning for?
KJ Osborne was a nice little addition.
Yeah, if I'm a Patriots opponent, I'm not game planning for anyone.
And they brought in the tight end there. What's his face? He was on the Bears for a while. It'll come to me. But yeah, I mean, essentially they brought all the key weapons that they had last year, if you want to.
Yeah, and you brought in Jacoby Brissett to play quarterback. At least that's what we think the plan is in week 1.
I'm sorry, but I'll take Jacoby Brissett over Mac Jones any day.
Well,
you
it's
are better at the quarterback position than you were last year. Andy, what do you think? Do you think the Pats got worse or a little better?
Well, if Steve says they got worse, I have to believe him.
So they got worse, just like your voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks.
Just kidding. The spring allergies. They're not.
Yeah, terrible.
I feel your pain.
Brutal.
The question I have is, Gerard Mayo's not going to make it. He's out of here in 3 years. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. The Crafts have completely lost their minds. Like they are getting. I'm sick of it. I'm done. I'm done with this childish behavior that they're doing. It's ridiculous. Enough's enough.
Yeah, I mean, this whole cold shoulder towards Belichick thing has to go. I mean, let it go. The guy's gone. Let it go. I mean,
They
you know,
can't.
they didn't make any big splashes in preseason. They certainly didn't get substantially better, but they added some small pieces. Antonio Gibson. So they added to the running back position, which they certainly needed to do. And they're relying on some of their rookies like Demario Douglas and, Keyshawn Booty at receiver. But they brought in a couple pieces, KJ Osborne. They brought back Kendrick Bourne. So, I mean, yeah, they didn't make any big splashes. Not that I was expecting them to. Now, reportedly, they tried. They tried to bring in a couple guys, and it just didn't work out for them. And I think that goes back to the fact that New England's not really an attractive team right now because they're kind of just a mess. The ownership's a mess. The coaching situation's kind of a mess. They don't really have a GM. So, I think whenever you're trying to make a deal to somebody and they have an opposing deal, most likely that opposing deal, especially if it's similar money, is going to be the more attractive option. Jared, what are your thoughts? Do you think the Pats got worse, or do you think they're maybe a tad better than they were last year? Obviously, we won't know till they play, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's tough to be as worse as you were last year. Last year was just atrocious in so many different ways. Um, again, I think you really have to try to struggle to be as worse than you were last year, which was again just a fully disaster of a season in every way possible. But do I think they're going to be significantly better? No. Again, I think you did what you had to do in terms of bringing back pieces within the organization. And again, maybe a few odds and ends outside of it. But I think if you're going to be significantly better, you had to bring in some of those big name pieces from outside. Now, again, I would have loved them to get Calvin Ridley, but I didn't want them to spend, I was going to have them spend 4 years, 97 million on Calvin Ridley. It's kind of a ridiculous contract. I'd love to see them bring in T. Higgins, but again, it's probably not going to happen at this point. Not an attractive team. So, no, I don't know if they're going to be significantly better, maybe even a little bit better, but I don't think they're going to be worse. Because I think they made some sort of, again, key necessary moves within the organization and outside to be maybe somewhat competitive. But again, as far as last year, it's hard to get worse, I think, than you were last year,
I
which
think
was
it's
again just so bad outside of that one win against Buffalo.
I think it's
But
impossible to get worse than you were last year, almost
I mean,
impossible.
last year was yeah,
And they brought in Austin Hooper. That was the guy I was looking for. So
yep.
I think that's a pretty good tight end tandem, Henry and Hooper. Obviously, they've brought in tight ends that were supposed to be good here before, and it didn't work out. But I think Hooper has a good shot. He's worked with a lot of the coaches before, so he could be a nice piece. But as I've said uh, numerous times, if the Patriots can get 6, 7 wins next year, and be somewhat competitive, that's a win. I mean, you can't expect them to go from 3-14, 4-13, whatever it was, to becoming a playoff contender. It's just not going to happen, especially with this roster, especially with your quarterback situation and your coaching situation. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, you got to expect this is going to be a team that progresses a little bit year by year, or at least that's what you hope. So I think if you go into next year, you finish 6-11, 7-10, and you're competitive for a good chunk of the year, and you're at least in the race a little bit, I'd say that's pretty successful. Would anyone want to disagree with me or add on to that?
I mean, I would agree. I just don't know if I see it happening. But again, I don't think you're going to be worse, if that makes sense. So, again, we'll see. But again, I
Absolutely.
think if you're going to be that, you got to bring in a little bit more, or you're going to have to draft out of your butt, and really pull something out. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I see that being significantly better.
Oh, no. They're not significantly better. That's a fact. But I think they are relying on the draft. I mean, this team's going young, whether you like it or not. They're going young. They're not going to be bringing in veterans trying to immediately go 10-7. It's not the way they're approaching it. They're going to go with Brissett. They're going to draft a guy. They're going to develop the guy they drafted. They'll probably draft him in the first round or very high in the draft somewhere. And they'll probably not start the guy right away, and they'll start Brissett, and then they'll work the guy into the mix as the season goes on. That's of course unless Brissett, has a tremendous season somehow or is racking up win after win. I don't think that'll be the case, but I think Brissett's kind of here as just a placeholder for the eventual starter. So I think that's about what you can expect from the Pats this year. It's not going to be too exciting. It's not going to be too fun. It's not going to be one of those Tom Brady seasons we're used to where they're a playoff contender, but I think they're starting young and trying to build up.
Well, they won 4 games last year, but they could have easily only had one win. 3 of those came down to one play. Usually the last play of the game. And now you don't have a Hall of Fame coach. So, in those late game situations, will Coach Mayo get those right? We don't know. He hasn't coached before.
Well,
maybe he will get it right. I hope he does. But you had a proven coach. Now you don't have a proven coach. And you have no proven quarterback.
A coach who hasn't proven anything without TB12.
He's got 8 rings. So.
And Brady won most of them. But he hasn't proven much in the last couple of years. I mean, just because he's a Hall of Fame coach, he's one of the best. He's had 2-3 miserable seasons, and the team has gotten worse and worse every year. So I don't know if the coaching situation makes a lot of difference. I don't think it really does. I think you needed some fresh faces as coach, as GM. You needed just a fresh hand in running the team, running the operation, bringing in the players. Because let's face it, Belichick was also the GM, and he didn't do a very good job at building this team.
Yeah, the main issue is the roster. And if you want to sum it up, Bill the GM, sabotage Bill the coach. It doesn't matter how good of a coach you are or what coach do you have around you. When you have a roster largely devoid of talent, especially when you lose Judon and Gonzalez in week 4, they weren't good before that anyway. But then, you add that on top of it, it's an unworkable situation. But again, that was Bill's fault because he's the one who built the roster. It's still hard to believe, 2022, they were at least competitive. They were in the race until the final day of the year. And then last year, they just fell off a cliff. I'm dumbfounded how they weren't even in the mix. 4 wins. Yeah. Went from 10 wins to 8 wins down to 4 wins. It's not a good trend.
No, not at all. And they, I don't know if there's still the mentality, but it almost feels like in a lot of cases, well, especially with Belichick, he felt like he could keep doing what he was doing with Brady. He felt like he could throw subpar receivers out there and they were going to be just fine. And clearly that wasn't the case. And that did not help develop Mac Jones at all, as he had pretty much garbage to work with.
Oh, yeah, complete garbage. You have guys who can't run routes, guys who can't get open, guys who can't catch the ball. You bring in Parker because he had one great game against us 5 years ago. He did nothing here. We brought in Juju. I liked the signing at the time, to be honest with you, but in hindsight, that probably wasn't a great signing either. So we've missed on a lot of receivers. You draft Thornton high. That didn't work out. You drafted N'Keal Harry high. That didn't work out. So whatever they're doing at wide receiver in the last 5 or 6 years, take it all and throw it in the garbage because that's exactly what it is. You need an entirely new plan, new philosophy at wide receiver. You need guys who actually know how to play the position because you haven't had that in a while here.
Preach. That's why I was talking about going after somebody big name receiver instead of trying to draft somebody or, and whiff. That's why I wanted them to finally, again, try to get a Calvin Ridley or a T. Higgins or something. Again, find a different approach. Go after a big name instead of trying to draft somebody. Again, I think that's the key position. That's the key position. So, I guess QB is really the key position, but wide receiver is actually the key position because of pretty much our inability over the last couple of years to have legit players at the position. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But, maybe they'll take Marvin Harrison Jr. still in the first round, or are they going to take a quarterback? A lot of mysteries.
Here's a question, guys. Sorry, Tom. Here's a question.
Go for it.
What do you think the chances are that they trade the pick in the first round?
50%.
50%. Okay.
I tend to agree with that. I think if they get a good offer, I think they'd be dumb to not at least consider it.
There's a good chance the Vikings could offer something if the Vikings want to trade up to get a QB.
I don't think
they very well could.
If they trade that first pick, they're stupid. They need great players and you have more of a chance, and obviously it's not guaranteed, but you have more of a chance at getting somebody with a top 5 pick that could be a franchise player than if you don't use that pick.
I would agree, Tom, except for the fact that if the trade is legit, I think you probably have to go for it. You can't probably turn something down that is probably clearly in your favor, but I tend to agree with you that you have to probably take a huge weapon there at 3. Again, whether that's a QB or a receiver or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting someone that has hope with the trade to potentially be a starting quarterback, or someone that already is a legit starting quarterback, like let's say you're trading with the Bears and you're getting Justin Fields out of the deal, that might be a deal worth entertaining. But I think it would have to be something like that for me to even consider getting rid of that pick.
Well, that's certainly off the table now after the Pittsburgh signing.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve, I want to ask you this, since you didn't have a chance to be on the last show. Who do you think, what team do you think has done the best job so far in free agency? We're throwing them right in the fire here.
Oh, that's a great question. You have some teams who have dumped some salary because they had to. Teams in our divisions that could help us, but teams who have added. I don't know if there's one team that I think there's a few teams who have added some good pieces. I don't know if there's any. I'd say maybe the Falcons. You added Kirk Cousins. You already had a decent roster, probably quarterback away. If Kirk Cousins returns to form from his injury, if he comes back, then I'd say that's the win of the offseason. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
All right. I think a lot of us agreed, maybe all of us, that Baltimore has done a really good job in free agency. Bringing in Derrick Henry, the running back, was really the one piece they were missing. And, they pretty much maintained their very good defense. And I believe they also brought in a receiver as well. They're still a little weak at the receiver position, so maybe they'll go out and draft one. But I think bringing in Derrick Henry was huge for the Ravens, and they are going to be a big threat because of that, especially if you get the Derrick Henry from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the Ravens, they may have to go after a receiver if, say, Flowers gets suspended. And I know you guys saw it this week, some of the big news. There's a new kickoff rule, but the league announced that they're going to play games on Christmas again this year, which is on a Wednesday. Yep. You can have football on a Wednesday. They said they wouldn't do it. I know they said it last year, but come on. We all knew they were going to do it.
Of course they're going to do it.
It's all about the ratings.
Well,
the money. Come on.
They should just have a game of the day. Have one every day. Game of the day.
Sure, why not?
Sure.
They want the NFL to own your lives. You're not thinking about any other sport, anything else. You're thinking about Tuesday night's big game between the Bengals and Chiefs. It's and you got to download 17 different apps too to watch all these games now.
Yeah, you're gonna have the Friday game of week 1's gonna be on Peacock. You're gonna have a playoff game on Prime.
Yep.
So yeah. Yep. I see Andy just shaking his head in disgust over there.
NFL ratings are going to drop if they keep doing that.
Absolutely they are. People are going to be stretched too thin.
And we gotta do some research. I want to look at the games that were on apps compared to the games that were on cable and see what one's ranked higher. I tend to think there's a little fall off there. Because I don't think everybody is downloading all these apps. I know a lot of people cutting cable now, relying totally on apps, so maybe that's part of the reasoning, but I can't imagine the ratings are the same as what they were on cable. But I'm impressed with what Baltimore did. I think they're going to be a huge threat. I think Derrick Henry was the perfect addition for them. That was probably the best move of free agency. I can't think of a better move from any individual move from any other team that was better than that. Obviously, the Titans stole Ridley away, which was unfortunate. That would have been nice. Washington's been making some big moves. They should be somewhat interesting next season. And of course, you have a lot of running backs moving around. Tony Pollard going to the Titans, Eckler to Washington. And there's several
Saquon to the Eagles.
Yes. Oh, that's a good move too. That was the other move I was trying to think of. I think that's a nice piece for the Eagles. You get a healthy Saquon, oh, he's going to do some damage there.
Yeah.
So, as always, the NFL capturing the interest of everybody with some crazy moves. I would say the worst move of free agency is the Packers bringing in Josh Jacobs to replace Aaron Jones. Terrible.
Yep.
You have downgraded.
It's got to be up there.
Yes.
What about the Commanders trading Sam Howell? Why would you trade Sam Howell?
Well, they brought in Gardner Minshew.
Sam Howell was good last year, man. He battled. He battled.
Yeah, they should have probably kept him. They brought in a couple guys. They brought in Minshew, and they brought in, I think, another quarterback. But
And I know they brought in Eckler.
They brought in Lou Vu, good linebacker. They've brought in a lot of defensive pieces. They should be somewhat interesting. They'll probably be subpar, 8-8, 9-7 type of team. But they've definitely upgraded their defense, no doubt. The NFC East should be pretty competitive. Everyone except the Cowboys should be pretty competitive.
I think the Cowboys would be just fine.
They've still done nothing. Have they done anything?
No, they haven't.
They let their top running back go to the Titans, and they haven't really replaced him.
Maybe I've heard a rumor they're going to bring back Ezekiel Elliott. Please,
I wouldn't be shocked.
Take him. You can have him for free.
Hey, I thought he was decent here last year. He was decent.
I thought so too.
He was. That's true.
I thought he played well.
Well, he was okay. I wouldn't say he was great. He was the best running back the Pats had, which is pretty pathetic.
He's one of the best players on the offense,
which is
also pretty pathetic.
Which says something.
Because he did not have like a career year.
No, not at all.
It wasn't that great of a season. He just looked really good because everyone else sucked.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's going to be interesting. Have you guys ever looked more forward to a draft night than this year, though?
I'm pretty excited. I'm very excited.
Crazy draft.
And on the bright side, we won't have to wait for the Pats pick. Usually we're used to waiting for it. Yep. Now you'll get in the first, 20, 25 minutes?
15, 20 minutes,
yeah.
Easily. Yep.
I'm going to be so pissed if I'm sitting there waiting for that pick. The Patriots have traded down. I'm just...
You know what's going to happen.
It's you know what? At that point, why didn't you just keep Belichick? Because that's what he would have done.
Yep.
I hope they don't trade down. Use the pick. You need talent.
Yep.
Take a risk in life. I hope they don't trade it down. I'm really anxious now. I have a feeling they're going to, but I really don't want them to.
I'm the same way. I don't want them to, but I have a feeling they might.
If they trade down, I got an awful feeling about this coaching staff. It's just
Clemson doubling up Arizona here, more than doubling up. On fire.
Well, on that note, let's move to some tournament talk.
UConn on in 4 minutes, I think.
Yes.
Playing in Boston against San Diego State.
I think I have discovered why UConn wins these tournaments and they're so good in March Madness. Unlike most top teams in the tournament, they don't play down. If you saw them in that first round game against, what was it, Stetson or something?
Stetson, yep.
Stetson. I don't even know where the heck Stetson's from.
Florida.
Well, congratulations to Stetson. I'm sure that was their first tournament in school history. But they don't play down. They keep their foot on the gas. And, they beat Stetson 178-32. And you get that wasn't really the score, but you get my point. But they get, you get like a Kentucky, for example, who got knocked out in the first round. Kentucky was a favorite by many to win the tournament. They're loaded with talent. And a huge upset in the first round That was the big upset, really, or at least one of the biggest upsets. These teams play down. If they're playing a no-name college, a lot of these teams play down, and it's really a horrible mentality. And that's why you see all these upsets because teams play down. Uh, would you guys agree?
Yeah.
And what are your tournament thoughts? Let's go around the table. Jared, go for it.
Do I think teams play down or higher seeded teams play down? Maybe occasionally sometimes, but usually sometimes those teams ends up still winning the game somehow. Um, been a really good tournament so far. That first weekend was exceptional. A really good opening couple of days. Round of 32 was really good as well. You saw some great games. You saw some blowouts as well, but that's going to happen when there's that many games. But like for instance, like Colorado, Florida, amazing game, phenomenal game, one of the best I think we've seen. Um, Everybody knows I'm a UNC fan. Looked pretty good so far. Wagner was in it with us in the first round for a little bit before we pulled away. Good win over Michigan State in the second round. Big game tonight against Alabama in about 2 hours. But yeah, just been a really good first couple of weekends. Excited for the rest of the games tonight and this weekend. And yeah, just awesome.
All right. So, apologies, a little technical glitch there. We are back. Uh, yeah, it's been a fun tournament. Some good upsets. A lot of good battles. Obviously some huge surprises. Uh, Andy, any thoughts about the tournament so far?
Um, I don't know if I'm going to play a bracket again because I can't pick any of these games to save my life, just like my voice. It's terrible. Well, I do have UConn. I do have UConn winning the whole thing, so we'll see.
All right. Steve, what are your tournament thoughts?
Well, I had UConn over Kentucky in the championship, and then Kentucky lost to Oakland University, and most people probably think that
That's what
Oakland
I had.
University. Yeah, but most people think that Oakland University is in California. Well, it's not. It's in Michigan.
Michigan.
How many people knew that before last week? I personally did, but a lot of people in this country probably didn't.
I did as well.
You guys are just nerds.
Apparently, we are. Yeah, but yeah, UConn looks really strong. And Tom, we saw them play last month, and they just keep coming at you. They have layers, they have depth, they are relentless. And if you can't go stride for stride with UConn, I don't think you really stand a chance against them.
Yeah, it's not going to surprise me at all if UConn wins it again. They look really strong. They look like they're ready to play, and I think they're just so good in this tournament. And really, I just think it's the whole keeping your foot on the gas thing. No matter who they're playing, they act like
Never let up.
They act like they're in the championship every game. It is an interesting Sweet 16, though. Let's see who we got left. We'll take a look at it. UConn, San Diego State, Illinois, Iowa State, North Carolina will take on Alabama, Clemson and Arizona, Houston and Duke, NC State, Marquette, Purdue, Gonzaga, Creighton, Tennessee. Let's go around the table. Who do you guys think is going to take the tournament? Andy, who do you think is taking it?
UConn. I'm going with UConn.
All right. I'm going with UConn too. How can you not? Jared.
Like I want to pick UConn, but for the fun of it, I'm going to go with my Tar Heels. Even though I don't know.
I got them in another bracket. Steve.
You got to go with UConn. They look like the best team all year. There's no reason to start to doubt them now.
Who do you think is going to be the other championship team?
Ooh. That is I did pick Kentucky.
Tennessee. Could be Tennessee. Could be the winner of that Tennessee Creighton game is going to be a contender for sure.
Yes.
I think Tennessee will probably beat Creighton, but Creighton is a dangerous team.
Gonzaga and Purdue. That's going to be a good matchup. Andy says Duke.
No, Duke loses to Houston tonight for sure. Houston is a good team.
I'll say Purdue.
Houston almost blew it last round.
Oh, Purdue. Yeah, Purdue is probably a good pick. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, Gonzaga, they weren't that great during the season. I mean, they were good, but
they've been on fire recently. Their
they
offensive
have been-
efficiency has been like top 3 in the nation.
yeah, they've been scorching teams.
And they won 2 blowouts. They blew out McNeese, then they absolutely destroyed Kansas.
Don't rely on the Big Ten. Okay.
Fair enough.
Where's the wisdom there, folks?
Yes.
I'll tell you the game to keep an eye on, though, is the night game tonight, which if UConn beats San Diego State and then eventually has to play one of these teams, could definitely lose. And that's the Illinois-Iowa State game. Both Illinois and Iowa State, both exceptional teams. That's the 10-10 game tonight. Going to be on during the UNC-Alabama game, unfortunately, because I really want to watch that. But both, again, Iowa State and Illinois, exceptional teams. And I think 2 teams to absolutely watch out for.
I think this UConn San Diego State game has a chance to be really high scoring.
Yep.
The same
time as the Reds.
It was blurred out.
Yes, it is Sox opening night at 10 o'clock in Seattle, and probably no one in Boston even cares about it.
That's what they deserve. They deserve to open.
Oh, 1,000%. The owners don't care. Well, why should anyone else?
They should make them play in like Taiwan or something.
Also, again, quick note. Obviously, they'll start 0-10. Nice.
They might. I might bet on Seattle to win the opener just for fun.
Seattle.
Go for it. Go for it.
I think it's gonna happen. They're gonna pummel the Sox like 12-0. Well,
obviously, this UConn San Diego State game, a rematch of last year's national championship game.
It is, yeah.
UConn will probably win this, but if San Diego State plays the D that they're capable of playing, they can maybe give them a run here. I don't know. Pretty decent matchup though for UConn.
It is. It's gonna be a good battle. San Diego
which,
State's not bad. They're not bad. All right. Any picks for the World Series winner this year? Since it's baseball.
Not the Red Sox.
Definitely not the Red Sox.
No.
Any team but the Red Sox.
I'm gonna go Dodgers just because they have everyone.
Braves.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
Braves. I'll go Braves.
Braves here.
Dodgers, Braves, NLCS. Mark it down, folks. Put all your money on it. Just kidding. Don't. Probably wrong. All right. So, believe it or not, we are just about out of time. We do have a few minutes for some final thoughts. Let's see. Steve, any final thoughts?
Just counting down to playoff time for the Bruins and Celtics. It's a great time of year, and hopefully both can go into their respective postseasons on a positive streak, because that's about the only good news we have in this town, because Sox and Pats aren't really going to provide a whole lot of it anytime soon. So go Bruins, go Celts.
All right, Jared.
I just want to see more consistency out of the Bruins. Bruins have been obviously inconsistent recently. Just got to start playing better. Had a good win last night. Lost to Tampa Bay last night, 3-1. Never mind. Just need more consistency. Also, the Celtics. Love the Celtics right now, but pretty sure I saw they were the first team in a long time to blow a 30-point lead when they entered the day with the best record in the NBA. I don't know how you blew that game the other night to the Hawks. That was insane. Got to learn how to finish those games. Can't be losing those games. But again, Steve hit it on the nose. Great time of the year. Need both teams to step up and hopefully, bring some titles back to Beantown.
The former title town. No, we're still title town, I think. Till someone takes away our crown. I am worried about the Celtics. They can't hold a lead. And I'm getting the feeling that they're just going to be a huge choke at some point in the playoffs. Maybe they get by the first round and choke in the second, but I'm not liking that. It almost makes me feel like the Celtics team has too much ego and they just think they're going to go out there and win. And I'm not liking their mentality. They don't have a championship winning mentality. I got a bad feeling about them. They're obviously going to make the playoffs and they should win. Anything less than being in the championship is a huge disappointment for the Celtics team. They are by far the most stacked team in the East. And if you don't make the championship, that is horrible. Andy, any final thoughts? He has a Celtics.
Sign Draymond Green. Nice.
All right.
Awesome.
There's Andy's final thought. Also, spring sports has started. We'll have Hiller Spring Sports, a whole lot of games right off the bat on HCAM. Head over to our website, hcam.tv. We'll have our schedule right at the top of the page on the news section with the games we have coming up. There's going to be a whole lot of them. Baseball, softball, boys lacrosse, girls lacrosse. They got the boys volleyball club team. We might have some streams of that as well. So it is a stacked season on HCAM. Should be a lot of fun. The baseball softball team expected to do very big things. Both teams brought back a lot of key pieces, so I'm expecting a good season and very excited for it. And we'll certainly have more HCAM Sports Talk coming your way as well. A whole lot of sports going on right now. There's no football, but we got the draft coming up. But we got March Madness. We got the Celtics Bruins in action. And it's a pretty fun time of year to be a sports fan. Of course, baseball started up as well. But in Boston, you don't really have a baseball team to care about. So that's unfortunate. But anyways, I digress. That is going to wrap up this edition of HCAM Sports Talk. For Andy Barron, Jared Keene, Steve Watson, I'm Tom Nappy. As always, we thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Be well. We'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody. Hello, everybody. Tom Nappy here, and we are joined by Hopkinton Hillers Boys Varsity Lacrosse head coach Dan Norton. Dan, how are you?
Great, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, we're at the start of another season, another what should be exciting season of Hillers sports and, of course, boys lacrosse. Last year, the boys lacrosse team had a playoff appearance. They lost in the first round. They finished 10-9 overall. Good season overall for the team. How's the team looking this year? I know you lost a few players to graduation, but how's everything looking this year so far?
It's been great. Yeah, practices have been fun. I think, the past couple of years, we've kind of had a younger team and been building up to this point. We have a great group of seniors, great captains, and, a great group of 7 seniors that are doing an awesome job with leadership and practice and, the few scrimmages that we've had. So really excited for this group and, the direction that our seniors are taking us.
Absolutely. Can you talk about your captains this year and tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah. So we have 2 offensive captains, 2 defensive captains. Wyatt Iantosca and Jack Preventure are 2 D-poles. So they're, doing a great job leading on the back end for us. They're, carbon copy, 2 bigger kids, rangy, very athletic, great communicators on the field. And they lead a lot by example, in terms of in how they practice and, the communication and bringing other guys along with them. And then the 2 guys we have on offense, we have Logan Del Ponte and John Sanda. Logan plays attack and John is a midfielder for us. Again, 2 great leaders. Logan, is kind of our main offensive threat. And John is a, blue collar, lunch pail, 2-way midi for us that doesn't get a lot of the credit, but, just one of those quiet lead by example, great job in between the boxes on the offensive and defensive end for us.
Absolutely. And you had some scrimmages recently, and obviously a couple weeks of practice. What are some of the things that you worked on in these early practices and what skills are you looking for this team to develop here in the early goings?
Yeah, just tightening up our fundamentals. I think the group we have is really eager to master those fundamentals, which I think that's why it's going to be a great group of kids. What we've been working on is we installed a new offense this year. So we have a couple new offensive sets and some plays and things like that. Defensively, things are pretty much the same for us, and we have a lot of those guys back. So most of our focus has been on the offensive end and the early goings here. And the scrimmages were great. We scrimmaged Needham, Chelmsford, and Bishop Fien. All great programs, and it was very, very positive for us. We obviously saw some stuff we got to do a lot better, but in those scrimmages too, we learned some things that we're really good at, and kind of push our focus to as we get into game week. Today we have Holliston at 4:00.
Yeah, you got Holliston and Ashland here in this first week. Can you tell us about any of the opponents you have this week, Holliston or Ashland?
Yeah, we're really excited. Today, just speaking of Holliston first, they're always a very athletic team. We had a couple, really competitive games last year, and over the years, they always present a lot of challenges with their overall athleticism. So we're really looking forward to that. And then, after tonight, we'll turn the page to Ashland, which, again, same thing. They've, their numbers have been improving the past few years. And last year, honestly, they took it to us in one of the games. We were lucky enough to kind of come back and come out with the, on the right side of the scoreboard. But, another program that, those kids get jacked up to play us, and our kids do too. And, two very athletic programs this week with great coaches, and Bill Graham and John Mulvaney. So really looking forward to it. But first things first with Holliston today. Very excited to get going. Got some good weather today. We'll enjoy it while it's here. It looks like the rest of the week is, got some rain or potentially even snow, but we're really excited to get going.
Yeah, those wild weeks at the beginning of April, you never know what you're going to get. I got to ask, do you have any goals for this team this season, or things that you would like to see this team accomplish?
Yeah, I think just, this group has done an awesome job of, just regaining the respect around the league, and, trying to get back to where we feel we belong in the league. And, it's going to be done one game at a time. And our goals are, more process related, but, just the way we've been practicing, the way they've been handling themselves in school, and with our youth program going down to help out. I'm a really proud coach of the characters that we have on this team. They're some really great kids, and that's always our first and foremost goal. And then just to take it a day at a time.
All right, Coach. And I got to ask, who you got in the Final Four? Who do you think's going to take it in March Madness?
My bracket's busted. I had Tennessee, so I didn't want to. Obviously UConn looks amazing, but I was, kind of went against the grain there and picked Tennessee, so they lost yesterday. that made me eat some extra ham yesterday. But yeah, Purdue looks really good, and I don't know if anybody's going to beat UConn though.
Yeah, I think UConn's going to take it again. It's been a fun tournament though. Should be a exciting finish, and Absolutely. And it should be an exciting season for you guys, Coach. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us, and we'll certainly catch up again soon.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thanks for all the coverage and all you do for the athletes in Hopkinen. Really appreciate it.
The TVL League Awards were announced, and All-Stars for the Hillers included an Alpine Ski Lucy Mado, Lila Mado, Barry O'Brien, and Annalie Krantz, as well as J.B. Flynn. Congratulations on a great season to Hiller Alpine Ski. In boys basketball, Jack Ionelli, Sam Dedejian, Sam Pantera. Boys basketball won the TVL Large title and finished 17-4 after a loss in a close game versus Middleborough in the round of 32. For boys hockey, All-Stars included James Hayward, Connor Merkel, Steven Jackson. Boys hockey won the TVL Large title and finished 14-5 overall, falling just short in the round of 32. In boys swimming and dive, All-Stars included Caleb Burke and Davis Pishoff. Boys swimming and dive finished the regular season 4-3 overall. In boys track and field, All-Stars included Sean Finnegan, Ben Scott, Logan Sullivan, Harry Miller, Drew Bilobreski, Will Bilobreski. Boys track and field captured the TVL Large title and finished the regular season undefeated. In girls basketball, All-Stars included Elena Davies and Bethel Flanagan. Girls basketball finished 10-11 overall after falling short in the round of 32. In girls hockey, All-Stars included Avery Bent, Lucy Jean, and Riley Cholera. Girls hockey had a terrific season, but fell just short of the playoffs, finishing with 5 wins, 12 losses, and 4 ties. In girls swimming and dive, All-Stars included Olivia Scalora and also Eve Weatherhead. Eve was also named the Diver of the Year in the TVL. Congratulations on that terrific accomplishment to Eve Weatherhead. Girls swimming finished 3-5 overall. In wrestling, All-Stars included Anthony Butkus, Edwin Zhao, and Stephen Moody. Hiller Wrestling finished the regular season 3-3 overall. In girls track and field, All-Stars included Lauren Canty, Alice Brambati, Josie Hopkins, Steph Johnson, and Elise Srodawa. Girls track and field finished their tremendous season 4-1 overall. Autumn Smith.
Ideally, you got to get a score before that 1 minute mark and then leave yourself a minute to hopefully win a face-off and then be able to have some setup time offensively.
Lombardi swoops it back. Looking to close in. There's a shot. It's wide by Hastings.
Good look there from Hastings. I like the shot. I mean, it has to happen. You got to get as many shots as possible now down the stretch. But just can't fall.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
And that one does fall, right?
Anderson Hastings makes it 8-7. Not over yet.
Absolutely not. We've seen crazier things, crazier comebacks, as we talked about before this game, the Super Bowl 51 comeback. And Holliston's going to need to trigger a little bit of their own Patriot magic today if they're going to want to tie this game, send it to overtime, or even win it with 2 goals.
Yep.
I don't know if there's enough time to do so, but I guess.
Well, there wouldn't be an overtime. It would just end in a tie.
It does
during
end
the
in a
regular
tie.
season.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I got to brush up on my lacrosse rules just a little bit, but.
That's all right.
All right, so it would end in a tie then. Interesting. All right.
1:12 left to go, an 8-7 Hiller lead. And we will step aside during this timeout on HCAM. We are ready to continue on. 1:12 left to go in this 4th quarter. Holliston Was just able to find the net courtesy of Anderson Hastings and get within one. So they have some hope.
They do, but it's going to be no easy task. They're going to have to win a face-off and then maintain possession with only 1:12. And the way they've been playing, the pacing they've been taking on offense, they've had longer possessions than that today. So they're going to have to speed up their tempo. And again, you're going to probably want it in the hands of Hastings or should I say stick of Hastings or Lombardi.
This face-off's key, and the Hillers win it. Abby Burke gets it over to Bouvier. Operation Burn Clock for the Hillers. Bouvier just going to try to take it around. She's going to be heavily contested as time quickly running out.
With no shot clock and you really can't hit or hit anybody's stick. It's going to be hard for Holliston to be able to get this ball back. And now 30 seconds left. It's going to be no easy task once again.
This is where you get to see how good your passing skills are.
Sure.
Abby Burke with it. Over to Bouvier. Bouvier has it knocked out. It's going to stay with the Hillers.
If you're Hopkinton, you want it in the stick of Bouvier, and she's been huge for them today.
Over to Mosier. 5 seconds left. Mosier going to take it around. She has a lot of speed. Drops it, but that'll do it. Hillers hang on. They get the victory 8-7 and improve to 1-1 on the season. Holliston will fall to 0-2. An impressive win out there today for the Hillers, Bella.
Absolutely. Great to get in the win column if you're Hopkinton. And it's going to be back to the drawing board for Holliston. I mean, you saw the excitement on the girls' face. Obviously, they put in all the work in the offseason and in the preseason. And now it's paying off for them with an 8-7 victory. Really good job by both teams. And we'll see this matchup once again May 13th. And it'll be taking place at Holliston High School.
Has an hour of classic cartoons, from Betty Boop to Superman to Popeye to Bugs Bunny and more. You'll see your old favorites and discover new ones. So tune in to Toon Time, Saturdays at 8, and start your weekend off with a laugh.